Not Sharon.
Why not Sharon?
She is just too cold for the brother.
Culturally, television has always been a part of the education process, at least for those who grew up with TV sets in their homes. The TV replaced the culture of sitting around the fire, trading old and new stories to socialize and keep in touch. And that, for most millennials, was as pivotal as the internet is for the Gen Zers today. By the early 2000s, the Ghanaian lifestyle and entertainment landscape was changing. Young people who had been exposed to foreign recorded shows and read magazines like Source, XSL, among others, wanted to make a statement. People like Ivan Kwashiga, Abraham Ohinija, and Revel Films, among others, had noticed the power of the TV. They wanted to be part of the changing lifestyle. They told stories we could relate to, held up as the template of what could be, and wanted to be a part of. They crafted a narrative defining the Ghanaian teen life with shows like Things We Do for Love and Home Sweet Home. They offered a perspective different from what most people growing up could relate to, and drew from the complexities of the Ghanaian life, leveraging on the life of middle-class Ghanaians. However, no show defined what the life in the university could be more than Suncity. It changed the university from the last educational stage for a promising career to a lifestyle haven. Suncity made life in the university the place people could go and find themselves and live their lives to the max without parental pressures or as little adult supervision as possible. And while they were fun, they also offered a meaning into the psychology of the different type of students you can find on our university campuses. Beyond the fun lives of these young people, the show also treated complex topics like HIV/AIDS, domestic terrorism, among others. Its young and impressionable cast offered a look into a broad spectrum of people in the academic community. In an episode, we could map out the character traits from the liberal Dr. Agui to the community.
How was your holidays?
Professor Abednego Tete Ashon.
The show. However, in this episode, we will be exploring the character of Sharon Jones, our campus slave. In the early 2000s, there was a funny and interesting fondness for the name Sharon, mainly because of the performance of Sharon Stone in the movie Basic Instinct. It had launched the career of Genevieve Nnaji with her seminal interpretation of the character Sharon Stone and killed it at that. So, the show creators chose Sharon as the main character, portrayed by Suzzie Williams in our It's Girl on campus. She embodied what it meant to not hold back and to be hot back in the day, sexually active and adventurous. While the early 2000s perception of the Ghanaian girl was prudish, Sharon had no problem using what she had or what she wanted.
I was going to ask a favor, but now I'm afraid.
The girl about town has a small circle of girlfriends and flirts without provocation. In her character arc, we see her move from sugar daddy to a campus boy to a lecturer. She does it without much care for what society thinks or demands of her. For her character, she was empowered for her time. She lived a liberal.
Hoping if you could give me some tutorials.
She had to work for the bad bitches today to run. She defined this woman today and broke with the traditions of the time. Ahead of her time, she was the girl boss. The girl boss is a term popularized by Sophia Amoroso in her 2014 book, which refers to a confident, take-charge woman who pursues their ambitions and who aren't beholden to anyone else. Sharon drew mixed reactions from audience. On one hand, she was a spoiled brat who thought she could live large and in charge and get away with it. On the other hand, she showed glimpses into the life of a young girl trying to survive in a world where young girls were constantly exploited by older men. She could and she did. Depending on your background and perspective, you saw her differently. Sharon offered an empowered youth experience that was rare on TV and gave women around the country a different perspective from what had been beaten into their heads. Today, conversations on empowerment seem to have moved past some of the issues, but Sharon challenged conventions and questioned sexual double standards in the early 2000s with her performance. Today, we can boldly tweet, post, and share the timeless lyrics.
I'm that bitch. Yeah. Been that bitch, still that bitch. Will forever be that bitch. Yeah.